just a quick introduction. My name is Lex Lindsay. I am the Senior Associate of Marketing and Communications for Camelback Ventures. We're here for our second installation of Founder Fridays Live. So thank you everybody for joining us. We're thrilled to be, in conversation with Mr. Toynes today, telling us a little bit more about himself, his entrepreneurial journey for Oak Cliff, and what he's got in the works over down there in Oak Cliff. So Mr. Toynes, if you don't mind to introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Taylor Toynes, humble servant of my, beautiful community, Oak Cliff, somewhere that we call the Super Block. Proud husband and father, and just, out here trying to do God's work.
Sir, yes, sir. We appreciate you. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to get into this conversation. So, to kick us off, could you tell us just a little bit more about your venture for Oak Cliff?
Yeah, our mission at For Oak Cliff is we aim to liberate Oak Cliff from systemic oppression through a culture of education while increasing social mobility and social capital. And we do so through four pillars of work: education, advocacy, community building, and the arts. And the organization was birthed out of my fourth grade classroom at W.W. Bushman Elementary School. My students were just showing up and needed school supplies, and we started a back to school festival. And from there, we recognized that, the festival was amazing, provided a lot of joy and a lot of hope as well. But we also understood that sustainable programming was necessary for us to continue to grow and evolve towards the mission of liberation for our community. We have a team of roughly 12 people that show up every day and serve in a very powerful way to the community. We started out in a 4,000 square foot office space in Glendale Shopping Center that I grew up in, was raised in with my family. My grandfather had a convenience store there.
Wow.
Where we just acquired our new space at the former Moreland YMCA, that is now the Fort Oak Cliff Community Campus.
Yes, sir.
Into the space, and we opened the doors Juneteenth this past summer, and now we have a 20,000 square foot building, 20,000 square foot facility, and it sit on 10 acres of land,
Yes,
which I believe is really powerful for our community, and it's right here on the bloodline vein of Oak Ledbetter.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's so awesome to hear. Like that you got started. I mean, the idea started, the seed was planted, in the elementary school. So we taking it way back.
Yeah, well, it was when I was teaching elementary school, and those young people are still involved. Some of them interned here this summer at Fort Oak Cliff when we were hosting our summer camps and getting this facility together to serve. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah,
It's been a marathon.
yes, indeed. Well, to get us grounded in the conversation before we really truly jump into it, could you please tell us, what are you ruthless for good for?
I mean, that's always been a tough thing for me to answer. And when I was brought into Camelback, I had a problem kind of with that. Not a problem, but it was difficult for me because the word ruth to me, I've experienced ruthlessness
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways. But what I will say that I'm encouraged by, like what I'm really encouraged by, and what I'm courageous for good, it would be the young people who come behind me, preparing the foundation and leaving a solid foundation for them to look at and disrupting what was put down before us, like being able to disrupt what leadership looks, sound, and feel like, so that they can stand up and be their authentic selves as they move forward, as the elders and ancestors before me did. So that's my thing. And I also, just personally, my children, I got a junior,
Yeah.
Taylor, and my daughter, Wednesday. I'm dedicated, and I'm here for them in whatever way and do whatever things I can for them.
Yeah. No, that's real. Just wanting to perpetuate and, like leave a legacy behind that impacts those that come after us. Like
Right.
that's what it's all about, is leaving a legacy that positively impacts those that come after us and making the world better for them. So I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I know.
All right, we getting into it. So um, let's start from the beginning. What propelled you into the entrepreneurial space, and eventually led to you founding For Oak Cliff?
Um, I would say my family. My grandfather on my father's side, my paternal side, I guess. He was a pharmacist. And he had his own pharmacy and had an entrepreneurial spirit. And then my mother's father, Elijah Benson, Eugene Toynes is my grandfather that was the pharmacist. And then my mother's father, Elijah Benson, he ran a local grocery store, corner store. I mean, it is the corner store, for my neighborhood in
Yeah.
Glendale. It's called Ben and Son, and I was able to see him operate that business, and just seeing the way that he was able to serve people. And from there, I wanted to do that myself. I always wanted to generate revenue. So early on, I started cutting yards myself. In like third grade, I had a couple of yards that I was cutting. I was able to make my own money. I was charging $20
Yes,
to
sir.
neighborhood, and I would take the money from cutting yards. And this was in the bling bling era. So uh, I found a spot that sold, watches that I could go in and buy for $20 and I'd sell them for 30. So
That's
uh,
quality
yeah,
right there.
yeah. So it was, I think it's in my spirit, in my blood to do that. And then um as we got to the point with 4 Cliff, I saw a void in our community, that I saw the opportunity to create a vessel to serve people, and was encouraged by the people that I was able to build with. Our team, we did this together. So, our team, to help move the mission forward, help move the work forward, and grow the ideas that we've had here. So, I like, to your question, it's in my family, it's in my bloodline. And then I think it's just in the steps that God prepared for me, trying
Yeah.
to be in divine order.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that all the way, man. Are the people who are on your team now, is that kind of like your founding team too, or have you brought on some new people along the way? I'm sure you have because you've just been growing.
Yeah, we man, the team has grown. It's grown a lot. Over the team essentially has doubled within a year.
Wow.
Um, these are people that, I've had relationships with for decades. So it's a lot of trusted people, individuals that not are just on the team with me, but I consider my community, my family, my comrades, and just beloved people that I enjoy serving with.
Yeah, right on, man. You gotta you bringing people up with you. That's what it's about too. Like none of us can work in a silo. None of us are successful by ourselves. Like we have to have a whole community of people behind us to kind of lift us up. Um, right on.
Mhm.
So, what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced as an entrepreneur, and how have you ever overcome those challenges?
Um, I would say, man, challenges. There's so many challenges. Just as I'm reflecting, balance. Like trying to maintain balance. The work that I do is personal. It's not. I'm serving in a community that I grew up in. Um, and the balance of trying to maintain and operate a business, to serve the masses, but also maintaining Taylor, the individual that, people have been knowing since, I was a baby.
Yeah,
Maintaining those relationships and serving them as well. That's a challenge for me, because I have a big heart for everyone. And I want to try to do all things for all people,
mhm.
but I also understand, that isn't feasible, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's just that challenge of trying to balance that world, and remain, the best way I feel is to be calm through these things and just remaining calm in these spaces. I think also a challenge is like really being able to get people to understand what we're doing that
Hmm.
aren't familiar with our community.
Yeah.
Like really able to get people to understand this movement that's taking place. Because I know our community understand, they feel it because they see it and they receive it often. But to get the masses to understand and be a part of it, because we've created change, and I know we'll continue to make and sustain change, but I want to see radical change.
Hmm.
Right now, the area that we're in and that we serve, it leaves the state of Texas with the most people incarcerated. And those are friends and those are my loved ones that are in there. And that's a challenge for me every day, showing up doing this work and then knowing that we have these people still enslaved in the state, and our community also is a food desert. There aren't any grocery stores, quality grocery stores within the neighborhood.
Hmm.
Those type of things to know, they could drive a person mad. But
Right.
I think one thing, like I was saying, the balance of understanding that we are in a resilient community. One thing I know about us is that you can put a wall in front of us and we're going to figure out either to go under it, over it, or through it. Um,
Right.
that keeps me encouraged. When I see everybody that are dealing with whatever challenges it may be, whether it's a mother that has lost a child, whether it's someone dealing with extreme poverty and just the things that come along with that, with what COVID has added to it. And I see them still with a smile on their face. That's forever encouraging to me, and it makes me know, like, man, we aren't our circumstances. They don't define us as a community. And I know, Oak Cliff, we gonna represent, we're gonna
Right.
be resilient, and we gonna keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this is kind of why we're doing what it is that we're doing with these Founder Fridays. We want, the opportunity for you to be able to share with, even more people what it is that you're doing with Fort Oak Cliff, and the challenges that are happening within your community, so we can maybe pull some resources together or just get eyes on it. Get illuminate people to like what's happening in the world around us. So definitely appreciate you sharing that with us. Um, I think you've kind of spoke to this a little bit, but how do you see your work advancing racial and or gender equity?
I think just being, I think I think us being who we are, we saying we want to liberate our people. That advancement, that's cool, and that's what we want to do, but freedom is the goal.
Right.
Um, I think that for us, one thing I want to be able to do is provide a proof of concept for other organizations throughout the country, throughout the world, to be able to see, like, for me, it was the Harlem Children's Zone. I saw what Jeffrey Canada did in Harlem. And for me, like, I was able to study and research that and use that as a proof of concept as we were building out Fort Oak Cliff. And now, where we are in the work that we're doing, I hope that, someone can see it and say, all right, this is what I want to do for my community. And as I'm going out to try to find funding, to try to find, supporters, or encouragement or whatever, they can look at what's taking place here and then begin to research and learn more and then replicate what's happening here and put their own twist to it. I think a lot of times we often lose sight of collaboration, and we often lose sight of um of the things that have been done before, and just knowing how powerful that we can be together and learn from those who came before us. So when I think about, for my people, wherever they are, whatever hoods they in that they trying to transform, if you in Southeast DC, if you in whatever ward, Ninth Ward in New Orleans, Seventh Ward in New Orleans, or Third Ward in Houston, Fifth Ward in Houston, South Central LA, like, I think it's power with all those places because we have shared experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we can come together and collaborate and learn from one another's ideas, I think that it'll lead to freedom for us all, because unless we are free, none of us are.
And you preaching today, Doc. You preaching.
I receive that.
And I love that you spoke on just like us being, like us just being in spaces that, typically BIPOC or women or, like undervalued entrepreneurs, undervalued communities, being in spaces that weren't necessarily designed for us, just us existing in those spaces is like an act of revolution, an act of resistance. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate you mentioning that, because I mean, it's real. Like us being in these places that weren't designed for us, that
Right.
movement, that, like that's a move right there.
Real talk. It is. It is. And man, to whatever it is that people out here doing, I say keep going, like keep moving forward with it. You got to go from zero to one, and then from one to two, and you build a wall with one brick at a time, and
Right.
then you build a castle one wall at a time, So just it's all gonna play out.
Yes,
Stay.
sir. Cool. So as we were talking a little bit about like legacy and creating something for the next generation, I want to know, as a social innovator, what is a legacy that you want to leave behind for the next in line?
The legacy I want to leave behind.
Yes, I know it's kind of a loaded question because it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of legacy, I think, like I said, my children and my children's children immediately. I want to make sure that they good and they taken care of financially, because we still live in a capitalistic society in the United States of America. So, being able to leave something for them to stand on financially, for one, but I believe the legacy that I can leave for my community as a whole, um, is the idea of freedom, of what took place with what we did in Fort Oak Cliff. Um, I'm no fool. I know I'm not immortal. I won't be here forever. But the ideas that we're able to leave, the spirit of liberation that we can embed into the minds, and the encouragement and inspiration that we can provide to anybody, those things are forever, and those things can be passed on. Those are the philosophical things that I think could forever be changing. And just me as an individual, and what Fort Oak Cliff is, is I don't like to consider us as an organization or a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Fort Oak Cliff is a movement. Um, and I think that the people of the community are the body that's making the movement take place. And I think that this movement that we've had here is gonna be forever. The idea of Fort Oak Cliff and what it is, it'll never go anywhere. I don't think. I think that we've made an impact on, the young people coming up behind us. I love to see, the kids that I met when they were 9 years old, they putting FOC in their Instagram names.
Ah,
They live in that, and it's something that's bigger than us. So that legacy and the idea and the spirit of liberation, the spirit of love, the spirit of encouragement, the spirit of resilience. Those are the things that the people who came before me left, that I hope that I can embed into, the next generation myself.
sir, yes, sir. All beautiful inheritances that we should, all be hoping to kind of embody and leave for those that come after us. So, yes, sir. Um, all right, so let's jump into what's next. What do you got going on at Fort Cliff? What's happening in 2022? What do you got in the works for beyond 22? Like, what are some things that's popping off down there in Oak Cliff?
Man, it's always popping in the cliff. But for us internally, it's to continue to grow this responsibility that we have with our new space. Like I said, we moved into a new facility this year, or in 2021. We're in 22 now. It's crazy.
Mm.
But to develop this space and make it future proof, like thinking of, what does 50 years from now look like in this building that we're in. You know, like we looking forward to having summer camps this summer that we do with another organization we partner with, building opportunities and opening minds. You know, we got a swimming pool, looking forward to the swim lessons that's coming up. But one big thing that's happening right now is we're renovating the gym at the building in partnership with the Dallas Mavericks. We're looking forward to opening that up on March 28th. This is a historic gym when it comes to the city of Dallas. You know, some of the greatest ball players that have ever walked these streets came out of this gym. So I understand the huge responsibility of what we're doing right now with these enhancements is huge. You know, continuing to grow our team and getting prepared for the summer in the spring as well. But you know, we run the summer, so that's our time.
Yeah,
When I think about it, you know, the summer is ours and the winter too. But yeah,
take
that's
on it.
what we yeah, that's what we looking forward to, you know, is just continuing to prepare ourselves and putting together the best product to serve people, to serve the people appropriately and at a high level of quality as well. You know, like we want to give a grade A experience to everybody who encounters Four Oak Cliff and experiences us.
Right on, man. Well, I feel like that swimming pool is gonna be a must because I know the summers get hot down there in
Uh,
Texas.
they do, and you know we got the best back to school festival
Yes.
you'll ever see. So we preparing for that. But yeah, you know the swimming pool is gonna be huge. You know, and also when you think about the amount of African American youth that don't know how to swim, so being able to provide that and shoot again, you know, in Oak Cliff, what we do, we make the best. So you know, we might have some Olympians come up out of this pool at some point in time. I see my brother Ben Jackson said food distribution. Yes, we do our food distribution, and also we're taking the food distribution to another level. Here at our community campus, in the spring, we'll also be opening up a farmers market that'll be taking place here. Um,
What?
yeah, and that farmers market is going to be huge. You know, like I talked about some of the problems that we have, and a lot of times we look at the root cause analysis of problems, but here for Oak Cliff we've been really focused on the root cause of solutions.
In regards to that farmers market, are you going? How are you getting vendors? Are you getting like local farmers from like Dallas, Fort Worth area, or Texas? You know, all time, or all the entire Texas, or and are they primarily like BIPOC farmers, or
Yeah, so we want to first focus on home, right? Like make sure we get the farmers who are doing work around here. Um, we have a strong partner with that we work with the Oak Cliff Veggie Project. It's a guy named Ples Montgomery that's been doing some strong work at our community garden that we work with them on as well. The Oak Cliff Veggie Project in 10th Street is managing and operating a community garden. But we're opening up to recruit all the people who want to come in and provide food to our community, the farmers, and not just farmers for the food, but also vendors as well that have products that could serve the community at large as well. So Juliana Bradley, who's been heading up our food justice, has gotten the opportunity to do this through the USDA to provide the funding to be able to operate this farmers market here at Fort Oak Cliff. And on the 10 acres of land that we have here, we also plan to put a garden and a fruit orchard as well that people can come in and be able to get some healthy food right here off the land.
yeah, I love that, man. So y'all heard it. He is there. Fort Oak Cliff is looking for vendors to participate in the Fort Oak Cliff Farmers Market. So y'all be sure to hit my guy up if you're trying to participate. If you're in Texas, if you know some farmers or vendors out there in Texas that want to participate, that need to be a part of this, definitely let them know.
Already, for real, that's the truth.
All right. So you are a Campbellback Fellow, 2020 Camelback Fellow repping.
Man, that was 2020. We got cheated.
But just a little bit, just a little bit. It was
Yeah,
we don't want to go back there. We don't want to go back there. Um,
yeah.
but Could you share with us just a little bit about what Camelback Ventures has meant to you and to your venture?
Yeah, man, I would say, 2020, um, we were robbed of our time in person together, given the pandemic. But I think a lot came out of that anyway. Um, Man, I still remember the first day, and it's all over my face for our group's picture, man. I look distraught if you see that picture. But um, the day I landed in New Orleans was the day that the helicopter that had Kobe Bryant and
Uh,
Gigi and all their team crashed, and we lost them. That was like when I landed in New Orleans. That was the first news that I got.
yeah.
But that week long that we had with one another out there in New Orleans, I was enlightened into so many different things and different people who were, doing amazing things within tech, within overall well-being and meditation and education. And I was inspired to see what all these different people that were in there were doing. And, that was important to me more than anything was the social capital that we grew during that time was huge. I remember one of the things that we did what is it called when the impromptu acting. I can't think of
Oh,
what.
improv.
Yeah, we did improv with one another, and that was special. But outside of the personal side and the relationship building side, just the overall development that I was able to gain when I was doing, stakeholder analysis, looking at, the vision of where Fort Oak Cliff could be, in the times, like just thinking of like KPIs and just learning all this different language that I should have as a leader of an organization was really powerful for me and life changing for our work. And I would say, I don't know if one of the biggest takeaways for me for that time frame was Camelback introduced me to a book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, that I
Sure.
with my team, and that has really changed my life, and changed the way in which I operate with other individuals. It really made me understand what truly being conscious meant and how to live it out. But yeah, man, to the Camelback team, I truly appreciated all the development, and I don't want to say appreciate it because it's still living in me right now. It's compounding. It's always going to be a part of the way I do work and the way that we operate at Fort Oak Cliff. I think that it was really powerful and a cool time to learn, refine, and grow.
Yes, sir. Right on, man. Well, of course, it was, I'm sure, a pleasure to have you in the fellowship. I'm sorry you got robbed of the in person time, but I'm hoping, as we move and all kind of recover from COVID, there will be an opportunity for us to all to gather and fellowship together in the near future. So,
It, I look getting together with everybody, man. It was special, and I look forward to seeing all the people who came after our cohort. We the best to ever do it, but I think it's some other cool people that's a part of it. But 2020, what happened there after us, nothing else will never be the same.
right. I'm just gonna leave that there. I'll let the following fellowships kind of duke that one out with you as they see fit.
All
Um,
right, you ready?
just so as kind of a closing, what advice or words of wisdom, if you could have just one piece of advice that you share with aspiring founders out here just getting started, really trying to, get their venture off of the ground, what would you share with them?
Um, huh. So much that I would share, but the I would say remain present and grounded in every moment as you building it out. Um, and always bet on yourself. Always believe in you. um there's going to be people that don't understand or see your vision, and it's not meant for them at the moment because it's your vision. It's your responsibility to be able to put the work in so people can see it, and understand it and feel it. But always believe in yourself, always keep going even when it's gonna be those times that it's difficult. You're gonna feel like giving up. And that's natural. It's nothing wrong with that. Don't tell yourself that, you're not gonna do it, or that you alone. Like, everybody who goes through these things and are building something are gonna feel that, and that's part of it. That's just part of the growth process. When you're feeling uncomfortable is when you're having the most growth. Remain resilient, and all, like I said, the most important thing is bet on yourself always, because when you the more you dig deep into yourself, you're gonna find inner strength, and it'll sprout out. The more you dig into you, the more you find out about you, the more you try to figure out what you're doing, that strength is gonna come out of you, because you built for it. God gave you that, and God gave you the ideas that are on your heart to share with people. And stay humble, stay humble always. And yeah, just keep moving forward one step at a time. Your
Yeah.
feet going.
Look at, oh my God, you really are out here preaching a word, sir. Oh my goodness.
Appreciate.
Look, bet on yourself, people. If y'all take nothing else from what he just shared, bet on yourself. Let that be what resonates with you through the weekend, y'all. Bet on yourself.
Yeah, bet on yourself.
Can't never lose when you do it.
Nah, not if you putting in the work.
Okay? Right on. Well, Mr. Toynes, thank you so much again for joining us for Founder Fridays. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us, letting us know, what Fort Oak Cliff has in the works. Again, y'all be on the lookout for that farmers market that's coming through. They have the back to school event. Are you guys going to be hosting the back to school event in person, do you think?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
But look, we gonna be able to do it either way. We can do a drive through. We can do it in person. We stay ready, so we ain't got to get ready.
Okay. Yes, sir. Um, I love that. I love it. I say that all the time to my friends. Stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready, man.
Better.
All right. Well, so where can people connect with you to learn more?
Yeah, I mean, this platform right here, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, Fort Oak Cliff, FOROAKCLIFF. Add that, and then also whatever social media platforms, Twitter, and our website. And then shoot, our facility. We're opening up the doors March 28th, to the community. We're at 907 East Ledbetter. So if you ever, after the 28th, I say come, April, that first week of April, stop by. If you have any inquiries, all of our contact information, the whole team is on our website. So, you could go on there. And again, I just want to, one more time, just shout out to my team here at Fort Oak Cliff. It's an amazing squad of people that are doing some amazing work across a lot of different sectors. So I just want to say again to the team over here at Fort Oak Cliff, we the best at it. And I'm really happy to be serving in the trenches with this group of individuals over here. And yeah, you don't have to just reach out to me. You can reach out to anybody over here, and they're equipped to serve and get done whatever it is that needs to be done.